Got some more people in the waiting room. Okay. Well, welcome to the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition Solution Action Planning Meeting number 2. All right, this is the second of 3 meetings intentionally specifically towards solution and creating a comprehensive action plan around eradicating gun violence within the city of Rochester. My name is City Councilman Willie Lightfoot, and I'm here today with staff member. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Dassy Joe, and I work for City Council staff as a legislative assistant. So I'm just here to help Councilmember Lightfoot.
We want to honor each and every one of you who have joined with us on this evening. Typically, what we do is we typically start off our meetings with a moment of silence. But before I go any further, I just want to do another sound check just to make sure that the folks on Zoom are hearing and seeing us clearly. Can I get someone just to give me a thumbs up if that's the case? Wonderful. Thank you, Deb and others. All right. So typically before we start our meetings, we start off our meetings with a moment of silence, honoring the victims and those who have been impacted by gun violence. And we see those victims as not only just the families that have been traumatized, who may have lost a loved one or one person has been shot in their family, but we also see it as the perpetrators too and their families, because those lives have been changed significantly just as much, as well as the overall community. Each and every one of us also are traumatically impacted by this violence that's happening in our community. So if you would join with us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. You should have, and we'll be placing in the chat, the agenda. Hopefully you've signed in. Please sign in if you have not. We need your information, especially you young folks. We want to continue to keep engaging with you. We want to continue to be reaching out to you so that we can find out different activities, different types of events that you guys think would be good for young people like yourselves. We want to hear those types of things from you in the future. All right. And so right now it's just a meeting of solutions, and we're going to explain that to you in just a minute. But we want to. All right. Our council president, Melendez, is also on the line. Thank you. Welcome, sir. We have some time today where we're going to go by very quickly around the room and just ask some folks to kind of just tell their name and organization they're with. I need you to do this like very quickly. I'll call your name. I ask you to unmute. We'll go around the room. We'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll go on to the rest of the meeting. So at this time, we're going to start in person. Since we're going to give our in-person people a little more leeway because they did come out. And we'll start now. What I need you to do is speak up. And when you get ready to speak, when you have your 2 minutes, we're going to ask you to step to this mic, speak into that mic when you speak, so those that are on Zoom and those that are on YouTube can hear you clearly. But we'll start here with Mike.
Michael Curran, resident agent charge for ATF Rochester.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Gentleman there.
My name is Cameron Dugas. I work for T.
How old are you?
I'm 18 years.
With the young people, I want your age.
I'm 19 years old. I'm a youth organizer at T. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm Cameron Reeves. I'm 18 years old. I work for T Department.
Beautiful. Welcome.
My name is Sahara Dillard. I am 17. I'm youth organizer with Team Brown.
The Dillard family. Ken and Terry Dillard now? I know some Dillards in Arizona. They're from here, but they're in Arizona now.
Chapter 17 with Tina Powers.
All right. Welcome.
My name is Iris Reno and I work for Tina Power.
Welcome, Tina Farmer in the house.
Juwan Shackelford, 15.
15, all right,
Name and I again, I was 15 years old.
15, so 15 all the way up to 19, welcome. We'll start from the rear and work our way to the front. We're just doing introductions, your name, you don't have to give us your age. But your name and the organization you may be with.
All right, I'm
Oh, okay, thank you, welcome, News 8.
Welcome, Osar, I work at Control.
Welcome, welcome, your partner just walked in too, my brother. We'll give you your name, organization.
I'm at the top. He seems to coach me here.
Yes, sir, blessing. Yes, ma'am,
Terry Robinson Thomas, retired, concerned about citizens.
welcome, welcome,
My name is Jedi Johnson, I'm an organizer.
welcome,
My name is Catherine Toronto, I'm 15 years old and I work at Tina Power.
welcome, Tina Palmer's in the house, yeah, D.
I'm Tanu Sarkis. I work for the city of Rochester and I'm a citizen of the city.
Welcome,
I'm Cheryl Sarkis and I'm concerned parent.
welcome, welcome. We're gonna go now to our Zoom. Katrina, I'm gonna have you unmute and go ahead and introduce yourself and who you're with. We can't, you're muted, Katrina. We're gonna move along, we'll come back. Tabora,
Hello, everyone. I'm Tabor Marcus with Neighborhood and Community Services in Albany, New York. And I'm really happy to see that you guys have a lot of young folks out in the audience today. So thank you guys for being here. I'm excited.
welcome, welcome. Deb,
Deb Antoniadis, a volunteer leader with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America.
welcome. Pastor Philip,
Grace and peace, everyone. I'm Pastor Philip, pastor of Hosanna for Every Church, and I'm the organizer, just the leader of Foot on the Ground Against Gun Violence. So right here in Queens, in New York. Thank you for having me.
thank you for being here. We got New York, Albany in the house. Victor,
Hello, Victor Saunders, Mayor's Advisor on Violence Prevention Programs, and fully support teen empowerment in their event this Friday at Liberty Pole, 4:30. Everyone invited.
Randy,
Yes, how you doing? Randy Rudolph from Rochester, New York, Vice President of the NAACP. That's it.
wonderful, thank you, welcome. Kathy,
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm a volunteer for the Rochester Coalition Against Gun Violence, and I volunteer for Brady as well, Brady United Against Gun Violence.
welcome. Karen, you're muted, hon. We gotta move. Alex,
Hi, I'm Alex Stewart, and I'm also with the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services in the City of Albany. Thanks for having us.
all right, thank you for being here. John Singleton,
Yes, John Singleton, President, Rochester NAACP.
welcome, sir. Michael Williams,
Pastor Mike Williams, Albany Community Land Trust, Albany Community Land Trust Gun Violence Prevention Program Coordinator.
welcome. Hannah,
Hello, everybody. My name is Hannah Jones, and I am the director of organizing for Brady United. And Kathy, like she mentioned, is our Rochester Brady leader. So I'm just here to support.
appreciate you, welcome. Jacqueline, we met Darcy already. Jacqueline,
Hi, this is Jacqueline D. Griffin. I'm the primary winner for the school board, commissioner of the school board.
welcome, Jacqueline. JBB,
Thank you.
JBB.
Yeah, Jim Van Bredero, I'm retired law enforcement. Just want to listen.
Yes, yes, Jim, we appreciate your comments last time, man. Great stuff. Lee McLeod. I'm if I skip over you guys, I'll try to come back.
Hello.
Hey, Lee.
I'm Lee McLeod from Restoration Church of God. I'm concerned.
Wonderful, welcome. Tony,
Tony Nelson, 585 Snug.
welcome, Tony. Nolan, Pastor Nolan,
Pastor Nolan Williams, Pastor Sheila Williams, Ark of the Covenant, Church of God by Faith.
welcome, sir. Vanessa Hobbs,
Hi, my name is Vanessa Hobbs from my bureau.
welcome. Dr. Barbara,
Hi, I am Barbara Singleton Pradier. I'm currently the communications chair for the Rochester NAACP branch. And I'm also the community coordinator for the branch.
wonderful, welcome. Andre,
Andre Gully, City of Rochester, legislative aide for Councilman Willie Lightfoot.
welcome. Did we do Reverend Marilyn? Reverend Cunningham, sorry.
Yes, hi, everyone.
Hey.
Reverend Cunningham from UCLM Chief of Staff.
Welcome. Jerdith Hanson,
Good evening, everyone. Yurit Dunko Hansen with the County Health Department.
welcome. Xavier, Raylan, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Xavier Major, 30-year survivor of gun violence, and also coach of the Rochester Wheels and members of Rochester Accessible Adventures and partners with Endless Highways.
Welcome. Raylan,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Raylan Gaffney. I work with Youth Voice One Vision in Rochester, New York.
wonderful, welcome. Gloria, you're muted if you're talking. Moving on, Ashley,
She's with Albany. She's with the city of Albany as well. She doesn't have a mic.
got you. May,
May Rogers of the Prayer House Church of God by Faith in Rochester, and I'm a very concerned citizen.
welcome. Miguel, President Melendez,
Good evening, everyone. Miguel Melendez, President, City Council, and also concerned citizen.
welcome. Renee,
Good evening. My name is Renee Joyner, and I'm a part of the SERB Coalition Task Force and the Secretary of the NAACP and a parent advocate for the Rochester City School District.
welcome. Serenity,
Hi, I'm Serenity Burton, and I'm from Youth Voice One Vision.
welcome. I think we have about 4 different youth organizations represented here tonight. Jamari,
Hello, everyone. I'm Jamari Cruz with YVOV, and I am from Rochester, New York.
okay. Dr. Byron Smith,
Hello, I'm Pastor Byron Smith, pastor of Crossroads Church of God by Faith in Syracuse, New York, and a concerned citizen.
welcome. Did I miss anybody on Zoom? If I did, could you please unmute yourself and identify your name and organization you may be with?
Hello, my name's Heaven, and I am spokesperson for Youth Voice One Vision, and I work with Community Justice Initiative as well.
Welcome, Heaven. Anyone else on Zoom that I may have missed?
Karen Mathis, concerned citizen.
Welcome, Karen. Anyone else on Zoom that I may have missed? All right, let's get into our meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be very specific and intentional tonight about our purpose. We are just, quite frankly, fed up with the violence, and I think many of you are as well. So what we're doing is we're working to do and put together a comprehensive plan based on ideas from the community. We had a summit, a Clergy for Safe City Summit at my church in June. And over 100 something, almost close to 200 people attended that summit. It was very successful. Folks that are on the line, some from Albany, various other places from New York City, and various other places, DC, Brady, we launched or we introduced and presented to the community a gun trace data report, which tells us where our guns in this community are coming from and or not coming from. Also, there were recommendations that were made from that report. Those recommendations, ATF is here with us tonight as well, has been with us throughout this whole journey since we presented this gun trace data report. And we appreciate Mike for being alongside us in this journey. We realized that there were more recommendations, not just the ones from Brady, but we didn't want to just come up with ideas of our own. We felt that it was only right for us to go forth into the community and hear from you as well, and ideas and solutions. We're not here tonight to talk about the problem. We already know what the problem is. There are too many guns and people are getting shot, people are dying. Tonight, we want to hear what you believe could be some of the solutions. What you believe could help curb this violence in our community. And just so you know the process, what's going to happen from this. After tonight, Dassy and our team are going to be working to put together a draft plan. What that plan tells is we have broken down into 9 areas, from faith-based community all the way to the federal government and in between. Rochester Senior School District, families, city council, county government, state government, CBOs, community-based organizations, and various others in between. So once we have all of these ideas and or recommendations, we're going to categorize them into what areas that they lie in, and then we're going to have a third meeting, which will be in person only. If you've signed up, you've given us your email, we have your email address. Those of you on chat, if you haven't given us your email address, if you haven't received the email from us and you received that Zoom link from someone else, please put your name and your organization in the chat so that we can make sure that you get the correspondence. After the meeting today, you will receive an email for registration to register for that third in-person only meeting. That meeting will not be Zoom, it will not be streamed. It will be in person. We're going to roll up our sleeves and finish this work and putting together this comprehensive plan from the draft of all of your ideas. Ideas have came in. We had numerous ideas at the last meeting. It was really good meeting. And people sent in emails. Thank you, Kathy, for sending in your comprehensive plan. People have been sending us all kinds of stuff. So we're going to compile all of that data. And then we're going to work on putting that plan together. Once that plan, I just want you to know process. So when are you here, you can select where are they going with all this. Then after that, after that meeting will be September 18th. And it will be at my church at 270 Cumberland Street. You'll get that information after today's meeting. Then after that, we will present that plan to the mayor and to this community in October. At that same time, the coalition is also rebuilding. Since the pandemic, we got kind of fragmented. We're rebuilding. We have committees. We're going to be asking for volunteers to become a part of those committees. And then the work from the plan will be done through the committees. Does that make sense? Through the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition committees overseeing some of that work. The city council will also, public safety committee, will also oversee this plan so that it doesn't just sit on someone's desk and we begin to hold individuals, organizations, and each other accountable. Okay, so that's just so you know the overall picture of what we're doing with this, so you understand the process. The coalition will continue to meet as we always do monthly, but the work of the coalition will be the plan. You understand? That will be the work of the coalition going forward. So today, what we're asking from you, and what we did at the last meeting, and it worked very well. If you have solutions on Zoom and you don't want to speak, put them in the chat, and we'll capture that as well. We also were capturing stuff online. When we posted this video online on Facebook and on YouTube, people were putting stuff in comments, and we're capturing that as well. We said we're going to exhaust solution in this process. Tonight you get 2 minutes. You come up. We ask that you come up to the mic. You You come up to the mic, we're gonna time you for 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes to talk about, up to 2 minutes to talk about your solution. We'll go back and forth. So we'll start with in person, and then we'll go on Zoom, and then we'll give those individuals 2 minutes, and we'll go back and forth until we exhausted our time. So we want to start with our young people tonight. We want to hear from you. And so come on up, tell your name, and you got 2 minutes to give us some of your solutions or things that you think could work to help with this violence in our city. Don't be shy.
Hello, once again, my name is Cameron. I work for Teen Department. One solution I say us youth as one, I say we all should be a part of Teen Department. Teen Department has opened my eyes as a young man of being more than what I am today. Yeah, I just feel like we should be all part of Teen Department or more organizations just like that.
Right.
That's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Next. Wait, hold on. We go to Zoom. First person on Zoom. You can unmute yourself. You got 2 minutes.
Willie, we recently noticed that the CDC has shared data showing that for the first time, the suicide rate among Black teens has surpassed that of white teens, and they have tied that directly to the experience of gun violence or even living in an area with a significant gun violence rate. We recently presented to the Public Safety Committee about Moms Demand Action's Secure Storage Initiative, which is called Be Smart. We understand that posters have now been placed in city rec centers. What we would like to see is that type of information going home with every city school student in their backpacks at the beginning of school. I think it could be very helpful to make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Next, in person. Yep, come on up. We want to hear from you.
My name is Cameron Dugans. I work for TE. I'm also a victim myself. So a solution for me would be, like when what happened to me, I was trying to look for a home, or I was on my way looking for a home, and it became me being in a place that I never been before and feeling like I'm safe. So that occurred wrong, and I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, I got messed up like that. But my solution is to, give youth home, help some of these youth get off the streets, and do fundraising for that.
All right, appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On Zoom, next solution. Just unmute yourself and jump right in.
I would like to say hi, good evening. I'm Katrina Perkins. Being a victim of gun violence and a sexual assault victim with my daughter in school, I think y'all need to check and see how many kids have been assaulted by a school official. As I emailed you about, they need to be caught. That man hasn't been caught. And you also, I wanted to say about the Louise Slaughter was helping me with my case for police, but put
I think you froze, sis. I think you froze, Katrina, or you went back to mute. You're on mute, Katrina. We'll have to come back to you, Katrina. Somebody else on Zoom step in for me.
Yes, this is Jacqueline D. Griffin. I don't know if we can do this now, but just as a start, is there any way that we can start the the curfew again for the younger kids to try to get them off the street, especially since the 14-year-old was just shot? Is that an alternative for now of a solution to try to get the younger kids off the street and keep them safe?
We thank you for the suggestion. We can definitely look into it. We know the curfew was tried before, and we know the city was brought to a lawsuit that said the curfew was unconstitutional at one point in time. So we have to revisit that. That's something that we'll look into.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. In person. Step right on up.
My name is Ja'Cory Chapman, and I feel like the best way to get gun violence off the streets is this thing called solutions, not suspensions. Instead of taking kids out of school and not giving them the education that they need, and bringing them back in school to give them the education that they need, instead of going out of school and doing things like getting a gun and causing more harm than doing more good in this world.
That's good. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, well, the mic is only going into there. We'd have to get the cordless microphone. Work on that. On Zoom.
This is Pastor Philip Falai from New York City.
Yes,
I think
sir.
what I've been seeing over time is that we're glad we have the elected officials here, few people that are concerned, and the pastors. But where are the communities themselves? Where are the parents? Where are the fathers in our communities? People that knows what is going on. They can give us some solutions. If we get them involved in what we are doing, that will be a great way. So we can build some community-based organization, community, coalition within our core community where these things are happening. What they are saying from where I am is that, oh, we are not involved, but they have more information on their children, what is going on within their community than we do. So if we get them involved in it, we might get some more information and more insight to the solution. So that's what I'm going to say. Let's get the parents, the community much more involved in what we do. Then we can build a mentorship program for our kids.
Very good, very good, very good. Thank you. We're going to move into, yes, beautiful. We're going to move into in-person again. And I want to say this, and I want to be very clear about this, ladies and gentlemen. We have, there's, Victor Saunders is on the call, some of the city staff is on the call. There are organizations that are doing a lot of this work. We're not saying that, and a lot of them are our coalition partners that are on the street doing this work every day, that are actually engaging with some of those individual victims of violence and et cetera, and working very closely with those families. So there are a lot of things that are happening. What we're saying, what we're hoping that the coalition can be successful in what we've been successful in the past of doing is hoping to fill in where those gaps lie. Where, gaps lie, we want to fill in those gaps. And we all could be doing more. And so I agree. Look, thank you for your comments. Were we at in person or in person? And you can speak into that, but also just so the folks can hear. Yep. But they'll hear you on both. Go ahead.
All right. My name is Catherine. For me, I believe that youth should have like a type of love inside their life, because I feel like not everybody has that love and parent vision in their life. So not everybody feels like, so I feel like they should have love in their life,
All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. On Zoom.
I feel like,
Mr. Lightfoot.
Now,
this
Raymond,
Katrina.
after Katrina, Katrina, I'll give you one more minute, hon. You got 1 minute, Katrina.
Miss Louise Slaughter presented the HR 1231 bill. I think it was from Georgia for to get military weapons off the streets because they're also coming on our streets. Number two, being a violence, and my family my daughter been a sexual assault victim of a school counselor. I think you need to find some way to find out about these people, check these kids every day. It turned my life. My kids and I were praising God, trying to open a Christian rec center, and it just turned my life upside down. My daughter Aquila had a full academic scholarship before she even reached the 7th grade for the U of R. And look at my kids, man, she's a drug addict. It changed everything. It just tore up my family. God, we the Wynn brothers family. I want you to consider what it does to the kids that praise God and did love him. They don't believe. There's no dwelling place here for God for our kids. And we need somewhere to go every day, a 24-hour door open for these kids can go to God, somewhere, altar somewhere outside. I don't care. Let them come to God, because he said, suffer not the little children to come to me. I got two-year-old grandkids, a girl and a boy. I teach about God and they love him. Happy every day. That's what I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And amen. Thank you. In person. Then when we come back to Zoom, I saw Kathy, Reverend Cunningham. We'll come back in that order when we come back to Zoom, but in person. You could just leave it on the chair when you're done.
My name is Ruth Reeves. I'm an evangelist in the church. What I want to say is the same thing that we've been saying all along. If you see something, say something. Parents, if you know that your children, your son has a gun, say something to someone. Get that child some help before they're laying in the street or they're in handcuffs, so somebody else is laying in the streets. If you know that something is going on, we have to impose upon our community the importance of saying something. Everybody needs to take our brothers and sisters in hand and in our mind and let the community know that we can stand together and we can fix this, but we must stand together in order to fix it. So if you know something, this is my solution to try to impose on our community. If you know something, say something. If you see something, say something. If you know that your child is coming home with $200 sneakers and you don't have no money, you know he got it illegally. So say something about it and let's fix the problem.
Thank you, thank you. If you raise your hand on Zoom, I'm writing it down in the order. So far I got, and we'll come back as we come back, go back and forth to Zoom. We got Kathy, Reverend Cunningham, and Jalil. I've seen your hands already. But if you raise your hand on Zoom, I'll put you in the order. I got Renee after Jalil. But let's come back to Zoom. We got Kathy. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks so much, Councilman Lightfoot, and thanks for doing this. So some of the things that I would like to see the Rock Against Gun Violence strategic plan address on gun violence and gun violence prevention, I would like to see that plan include data-driven goals being created. That means that we'll use evidence-based research, comprehensive studies by reputable gun violence prevention experts and leaders with expertise to determine every single goal that we set, and that we ensure that every goal has clear, timed, measurable objectives, benchmarks, as well as identifiable expected outcomes that are tied to each goal. I would like to see the plan to incorporate data from research and scientific evidence-based peer-reviewed studies to drive all goals that we set. So that means we will include research and studies that have been conducted by reputable mental health experts, medical institutions, behavioral health scientists, social workers, gun violence prevention, community experts, including the experts in team empowerment, gun violence prevention organizations like Brady, Everytown, Giffords, our public health professionals, like right here tonight from the Department of Public Health, Jarif is here, as well as healthcare institutions that are studying evidence-based models for gun violence prevention. such as Stanford or Johns Hopkins. I would like to see the Brady Gun Trace Report incorporated into informing and driving strategic actions that address our goals regarding the actions we will take in response to the supply side to gun violence. And these actions may include important community roles in calling for government. Sorry?
Your time. That's your 2 minutes. That's your 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, and whatever we don't capture, ladies and gentlemen, please, get it to us in writing, via email, and Kathy, I know we have some of your stuff already, and we're gonna definitely, incorporate that into the plan. We're going back, and I don't mean to be rude to anyone, ladies and gentlemen, please don't, receive it that way. I truly wanna hear from everybody, and I truly value your time. And I want to make sure that we give everyone an opportunity who wants and who is willing and wants to give their solution or idea. I want to give you that opportunity to be able to do that tonight. All right. So we're going to go back to in person. I have various hands. We go back to Zoom. I got Reverend Cunningham. I got Jalil. I got Renee and Dr. Barbara in that order on Zoom when we go back to Zoom. But in person, if you could come, grab that microphone, step up to this front, and we'd love to hear your solution. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Sure, thank you for having me. I'm Mike Curran, I'm the ATF resident in charge. One thing I want to bring everyone's. Okay. One thing I want to let everyone know is I think that's important for law enforcement and the community to have trust with each other. And to go along with that, there's a community event this Thursday. It's called Project Tips, put on by Project Camp Good Days. There's going to be law enforcement there. There's going to be people from the community, organizations from the community. It's very low key. It's a good way to get people to get to know each other. It's going to be August 24th, this Thursday, the YMCA at 405 Sile Street. It's from 1 to 6 p.m. And Project TIP stands for Trust, Information, Programs, and Services. It's been going on for years. It's a very good event. I just would encourage everyone to go there. One other thing I think everyone should take a look at when they get a chance, ATF's website has a lot of information, atf.gov. There's a lot of reports on there. There's a lot of information. If anyone has any questions, they can review that. Also on that website, there's a link for Report It, which is one of our tips applications. If anyone has information about stuff they want to be anonymous, they can put it on the link on there through our website. And if anyone wants to call our office here in Rochester, 585-987-2100. Call us up if any information about firearms crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And we definitely we got that information, and we're definitely going to use that. And it will be there'll be sections in the comprehensive plan that will also have toolkit pieces in it, which will link people to resources under each area. And we'll definitely make sure that your information is a part of that toolkit and that resource for folks.
Yeah, we use crime gun intelligence, like Kathy said, just to focus on where the crimes are happening and focus on who's doing the murders and killings in the community.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mike. You said it back down. Thank you so much. Reverend Cunningham, you have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the young people know that the reason why a lot of us are on the Zoom call and have showed up tonight is because we do care about you. We care about what's going on in this community. And just step by step, some way, somehow, I'm just praying that, we find solutions by coming together. But I want our young people to know we do care. A lot of us on this Zoom call, we're older, we had children, we've got grandchildren, and we got to do this together. And together, if I can help before something happens, we got to be there for one another. So that's all I had to say. And, I just want to make sure that when there's something going on in the community, that we get the information so I can make sure it get to a lot of the other groups that I'm involved in. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Cunningham. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I have next on, we're going to go on in person, but we got next on Zoom in the order, so you know. Jalil, Renee, Dr. Barbara, and Cherie Maria will be next on Zoom in that order. But right now, we're going back to in person. Our folks in person. grab that mic. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Sahara Dillard. I'm a youth organizer at Teen Empowerment. I feel like there are various reasons when it comes to things. I feel like there are various solutions. Something big is youth don't have anything to do in their community. Yes, we have a rec center and we'll have a basketball court here and there, but we need something that's fun. We need something interactive. We need spaces where not only youth can go, but parents can go as well to build these bonds with their children. And there needs to be free things to go to. Like, yeah, there'll be a movie in the park or like Fringe Festival. I know, actually, I think believe Fringe Festival is free. But what I'm saying is there are various things happening within the community, but in order to get in, you have to pay. There has to be some type of income that goes into that. And everybody don't have the budget for that. Everybody does not have the money. Everybody don't have the resources. There needs to be free spaces where parents can go to spend time with their children, where children can go by themselves to have a fun time with their friends. Another thing is, like someone mentioned, was some of these children are homeless. They have no place to go. Their parents don't care. They need people to lean on. They need people that they can go to whenever it is they feel in trouble. They need people in their lives. Like she was saying, if you see something, say something. Don't just let things be what they are, because, you know, like you have to say something about it. You have to do something about it. So yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to Jalil on Zoom, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. First of all, I'm a special project coordinator for Citizen Action of New York. I think it's important for us to understand that this situation in our communities did not derive overnight, that it was a long-term diminishing of resources from out of our community that created this reality of this kind of internalizing and fratricidal warfare that's going on in our community. We have to address it, but we have to address it in a very strategic and deliberate way. And meaning this, if we take for an example, the affluent communities, why don't the affluent communities have the kind of violence that we find in the poor community, right? The conditions that we are dealing with in our community is based upon poverty. We know that poverty is a progenitor for crime. So if you want to address the issues of crime, you have to address the issues of poverty. One cannot be done without the other. Now you have, for instance, Adam Bello, who's trying to raise money for a new juvenile detention center. Why wouldn't raise money for a detention center? You build a detention center, they're going to fill it. There's no ifs and buts, but they're going to make the laws so they can fill it, right? Because it's a moneymaker, right? Well, why not take the money for that project and put it in the services that we need in our community to diminish and decrease the levels of crime? You see, so again, it's an issue of poverty and resources. And unfortunately, we're not putting our resources in the areas where there's poverty. And therefore, we're creating conditions for the increase in violence and the increase of broken families, increase of disillusioned apathy within our children, and all those kind of mental health situations, drug addiction, and gun violence, all right? We are not appropriating and allocating our funds in the areas where they need to be. Rather, we're creating conditions for what? Prison, the school to prison pipeline, and locking our children up, right? Locking them up into a system that is not, by law, is known to be a penal slave system. We have a lot of work to do. Citizen action efforts in that area. Thank you. I want to thank you also, Mr. Lightfoot, for your efforts.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Joe. So I got, when we go back to Zoom, I got Renee, Dr. Barbara, Cherie Maria, Randy, Rudolph, and then Hannah in that order. When we go back to Zoom, I just want to stop, pause for a moment, and I just want to say you are really touching right down my alley when you talk about poverty. And I'm not, I don't want to take up any more time because I want to hear from you guys, but I just want to say historically, since I've been on council, I'm consistently saying your budget is a reflection of your priorities. So I had them put a pie chart out every year because I wanted people to visually see that majority of our money, a lot of it does not go to youth and recreation. But at the same time, we're saying, we want to help our young people. So we have to be acknowledge the fact that, our priorities are not reflecting that. And I've been very open and intentional and honest about that and advocating for that since day one. But in person, we want to hear from someone who may have not spoken. If you were at the last meeting, we'd ask that you would yield your time to allow someone else to speak that may have not had an opportunity to speak. We're giving you 2 minutes to give us your solution. Right now, we're going back to in-person. So somebody in person who wants to step to the mic and have 2 minutes, you have this opportunity. Brother Muhammad?
Yes.
Talking here too, you go, so they can hear you on Zoom. Go ahead.
So here we go. I'm Thomas Muhammad, and I'm originally from New Jersey, and I've been here 21 years. And my observation is, my solution is respect, responsibility, and reality with reasoning. And if we don't go back to respecting one another, how can I show the youth on the street how to respect themselves if I don't respect myself? Okay, so that's part of the solution. Unity is the key amongst ourselves and amongst humanity, but not self. We're not going anywhere. I can go on the block. I got a PhD, master's degree. I can bachelor's degree the street. It don't work. I'm not scared of them. I go on the block and I can speak to them. And real short, 14, 15, I wrote a business plan and I won a grant and I started a residential construction company. I just recently filed just a DBA for a nonprofit, which is Your New Millennium United Family Community Organization. I'm full. I cannot do it alone. There's 2 boards that need to be formulated. I got the business plans. They need to be tweaked by the group, by the board. I'm full. Okay, so that's part of the solution. And when I come to these forums, I can count on 2 hands how many of us are here. They spend a lot of time, money, and effort to put on a lot of resources here in the Rochester area, but those that really needed it, they never did. The shooting today, you understand? And so on and so on. But that is it. Respect, responsibility, and reality with reasoning. And I take it from the president on down to the mayor to us. And they ask that the public get involved. And this is an involvement, but for me, it's not enough, but I'm satisfied with what I see here right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad. Appreciate your comments. We're going to Renee on Zoom. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, first, thank you. In all of the meetings that I've been 100 or so, it's always handpicked kids. So it's a blessing to hear the kids that are really experiencing this. The other thing, when we talk about poverty, we have generational illiteracy. Generational literacy is always going to have generational poverty. It is not a disrespect or anything, but a lot of these kids see the suit and ties and the dresses and the blazers. How you gonna help me get where I'm going and you ain't been where I'm at, where I've been at? There's a lot of men in this community that came from the same places these kids are, and they have a blueprint. They created businesses. They created their own stores, stuff like that. They need to be a part of the formula and the blueprint so these kids can identify. They call them OGs or whatever. Mr. Lightfoot, Jefferson Avenue, they see you out there. These kids in my school especially, they know how to play the system and give people exactly what they want so they leave them alone. But when you have a real conversation with them and they know that you're really trying to have a relationship with them, they will open up and the trust starts there. Until we regain the trust of our youth, because some of them believe we failed. And in some formulas, I'm included, the formula is not really as complicated as DOT or whatever. It's what that man just said, what you said, what all of you said. Our children are lost. We have to be the compass to bring them back to a community that feels like unity. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate your comments. When we come back to Zoom, I have this order. So I have Dr. Barbara, Cherie, Maria, Randy, Rudolph, and Hannah in that order. If you type in the chat, we'll keep tallying putting the list together for the Zoom. We're going back to in person. In person. Come on, my brother. Come on. Just grab that mic right here if you don't mind, please, sir. So and then, speak around that area so they can hear you both online and in person. Thank you, sir.
Peace and power, everybody. My name is Ahmed Patel, and I'm a health professional, so I'm coming from a mental perspective. So I wrote some notes.
Be muted when they're talking.
And what I have to say is this: mental health from a cultural perspective is what needs to be addressed. All the modalities that are being used are coming from a Eurocentric framework, and it needs to be actualized instead of intellectualized. Indigenous knowledge-centered frameworks where the people who need clinical treatment can actually see themselves in the treatment. As a man who grew up in Rochester and survived several attempts in my life, and being a mental professional, that brings a certain perspective that comes from being a contextual expert and a mental health cultural expertise. We need more people in the community that are to go and get mental health degrees to deepen the services that are there for mental health for Black people. Because that's the people that are mostly affected. The people who's doing the work with the goal to have peaceful communities needs to be at peace within themselves. There needs to be a process in place to assure that energy, the people who's doing the work that are exuding is peaceful, not disturbed and chaotic within their being. Indigenous healing culture needs to reach the homes because families is the first institution. Without healthy families, we have chaotic communities. The epigenetic impact in our community is not being considered because most of the policies continues to perpetuate the historical things we want to end. So when you're talking about gun violence, we didn't look at the root cause of that. We're talking about the surface stuff, but what happened for centuries that led us up to the point right now. And that's how we be able to understand what's happening from a cultural perspective and from a communal perspective. And again, family is the first prime. You don't give a family, the community is going to be chaotic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those comments. Yeah. Thank you. We're going to Dr. Barbara on Zoom. Dr. Barbara, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, I actually have a concern. I remember Schumer, Senator Schumer allocating funds like millions of dollars to our city to help combat this gun violence. I wanted to know if you, as our city councilman, if you could finally find out if we could get a report on what these organizations have been doing so we would know, add that to our blueprint that you're talking about for our community. I would just like to find out what you're doing. I think it was about 15, 20 different organizations that these funds were allocated to. My second comment is that I think that our city, just Rochester, should revisit this bail reform because what's working in other, Kathy passed the law on bail reform and was voted in and what have you, starting with Washington, but it's not working for our city because I was just reading in the paper with this one guy, he had bench warrants, and it happened up there on North Street, the incident. He was able to walk out of that courtroom, because of this bail reform. So I'm thinking that a lot of these kids, I'm not saying lock our kids up, but sometimes you gotta have tough love and show them some type of discipline. Where if they're in there, then you wait till your court date. Most of the time they're getting out, but a lot of these kids, are committing felonies and they're able to walk out the door and commit more. So I think that is something else that we should be thinking about, this bail reform, just for our community, because it's definitely not working here. And the last thing I want to say is that I have been in touch with a lot of families, being a chaplain.
That's your time, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you wrap it up? Can you just quickly wrap it up? Okay, thank you.
Thank you too.
Yeah. And I want to say this. Today, I'm really here just to facilitate and listen. there's no bad idea. There's no bad idea. There's no, like I said, you may see me on TV. I said, I want to exhaust you guys really don't understand. I spent 20 years on the Rochester Fire Department. I'm on Jefferson Avenue. I just had a revival on Jefferson Avenue. 6 people were shot on Jefferson Avenue during my revival, the week of my revival. 2 of those people go to my church. The 15-year-old boy was a grandson to one of the deacons in my church. The young man that was killed on Henry Street is a grandson to my pastor emeritus in my church. The young man that was killed on North Street is a pastor in my church's cousin. So this is real for me. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, I'm on Jefferson Avenue. You know what I mean? I live around the corner and I do business. I spent $1 million. People talk about, invest in your community. I invested $1 million in my community and where I come from, myself personally. You understand? And I'm invested in this community where people are disinvesting. I'm reinvesting, because I believe and I love my community, and I came from the same streets, so this is very, I'm not here. I want to be here. You know what I'm saying? I want to solve this problem, and that's why we're doing this. So I'm not here to like debate anyone's idea because all of your ideas are great. I want to exhaust them. And one thing I can tell you is that I promise you that all of these ideas will make it to the light of day. Anything that the city can do, I'm just one of 9 votes, but I will work tirelessly to make sure that we're making a difference. And then we're gonna use this platform and my platform that God has allowed me to be in to start having those other conversations that have come about throughout this process. There are many more conversations that have to take place. There are many more different things that are going to happen and come as a result of this. And I promise you that I'm going to be leaning on you guys to help create and do that. I can't do it by myself. My staff can't do it by myself. We're going to do this together. That's why I came out asking the community for help, because we need help. We as government got to be honest enough to admit that we don't know what we're doing.
All right.
I'm keeping it a buck with you. I don't know how to fix it.
Okay.
I don't. I trust God though.
Okay.
And I believe God uses us for the answers and the solution, and collectively, collaboratively, through prayer and through faith and through works, we can come up with some solutions that I believe can help. That's just my belief. All right. And so we've gone to Renee, Dr. Barbara, in person now again. Yes, sir. The mic is right here, sir. You got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have been up before, but I just wanted to come back here and reiterate. I know the last time that I spoke with you all. Oh, sorry. Oh, Septimus Scott. Sorry about that. I'm the founder of the Greater New York Revitalization and the Next Steps Mentorship Program designer. One of the biggest challenges that I've seen in just working with the youth in Rochester is that we have a lot of programs that are reactionary. We have a lot of great people, smart people, right, that are working to try to end this gun violence, at least like minimize it. I think one of the biggest issues that we're seeing is that individuals don't really want to touch the people who are actually involved in the gun violence. The kids that are actually out here shooting, the kids that are actually out here robbing, that are drug dealing, that are doing the things that are creating these issues. A lot of us don't want to touch them. I know initially when I started the Next Steps Mentorship Program here, it was originally from Brooklyn, but when I started it here in Rochester, a lot of the feedback that I got from people was like, oh no, nobody wants to come over there because those kids, they have guns, they sell drugs, they deal with drugs. And I'm like, well, aren't those the kids we're trying to help? Aren't those the kids we're trying to change? Aren't those the kids we're trying to make sure don't do these things over and over that's impacting our community negatively? And so that's just one of my biggest things is that we can have these meetings often, right? And we can come up with these great ideas with these great groups. But until we start being more boots on the ground and going into the hood and talking to the kids that's robbing, stealing, that we're scared of because they look like thugs, but they're kids, we're not going to see any real impact. So until we can get to that place where we can be comprehensive, like I mentioned before, and we have individuals from all walks of life, different backgrounds, different studies that can come together, bring together their professionalism and be able to literally go out there and touch these kids that are actually doing this stuff on the regular, we're not going to see any real change. So if we want to move in that direction, I think that's the only thing that we could do to try to minimize any of this violence that we're seeing right now. That's all. Thank you.
And I want to say this, I agree with you. And again, I'm not here, you can put the mic up, thank you, sir. I'm not here to challenge anyone. I just want to add information. I want to add information. And I want to make sure that people understand city government historically did not do human services.
Right.
Got to really put that in perspective. City government is good at taking your taxes, fire department, police department, picking up your trash, cleaning your streets, right? You know, those types of things, running your art centers, etc. This is what city government historically has done. City government did not historically do human service. Mental health, all these things, a lot of things that we're hearing you talk about, that wasn't the role of city government. County government typically took on the role of human service, Department of Social Service, Department of Mental Health, et cetera, et cetera. What we found changed in the work through a lot of the social injustices and things that we have, especially with policing in communities, is that governments, especially urban governments, realized that they had to get in the human service business.
Yeah.
What we did just recently is we changed our dynamics of our departments. The department used to be called DRIVE, the Department of Recreation, Youth Services, was changed to Recreation, Youth, and Human Services over the last couple of years. And now they have a homicide response team, a crisis intervention coordinator, mental health providers. Victor Saunders is working with the mayor to do the peace collectives. Individuals are in this room who are starting new programs that are taking new approaches. There's the program where they're actually going out working with the shooters now. But you gotta understand, these are all new. It's new for city government. We just started this stuff within the last couple of years. Programs just like what you're talking about, going out, dealing with active shooters and different ones, and Pathways to Peace has been around over 20 years ago. That's not new. But the way that they're approaching this violence, the pure violence method, and various other methods that are out there that have historically have worked in bigger cities, Philadelphia, Chicago, et cetera, we're now starting to really beef up those programs, but they're very new. So we're hoping, again, the coalition is to educate, advocate, eradicate. So the coalition is, where are the gaps? Where can we help at, right? Well, how can we educate? We heard in the first meeting that a lot of folks just don't have education. But what we're hearing a lot of gaps in between these services that we may be providing and things that we also can do too. So we're hoping to fill in some of those gaps and educate so that you know about those. Why don't you all know about those programs?
Right.
Why don't our community know about those programs? Why don't our youth know how to access this stuff? So we got to do a better job,
Yes.
right? Of marketing ourselves, marketing what we're doing, all of that. So this is what we're hoping to be a part of being able to do collectively, because we do have boots on the ground. There's Pathways of Peace, there's Rise Up Rochester, there's Rock the Peace, there's so many of these other different, there's Snug, there's different ones, some of them are even on this call, who are out there every day, and there's our crisis intervention team, who are literally responding to mental health calls daily, hundreds of calls a week, daily. So I'm not saying we're not doing some of these things, but they're new to us. I want to be very honest about that up front and intentional about the fact that we're transparent. These things, this is a new territory, some of these things for us, for city government. And that we realize that we could do more. And we have to do more, right? And then we also have to make sure, as was said before, that the funding that because what we always find out with a lot of these things is that they never have enough resources. So we want to go to Zoom. Cherie, Maria, you're next. You got 2 minutes, hon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sharice Marie Bufus Scott. I am with the Greater New York Revitalization Program Director. Mr. Lightfoot, you touched on a lot of what I was going to tap into. So, but I want to start with saying that more police increases the concept of the broken windows concept. And historically, nationwide, the broken windows concept has not been proven to reduce crime in any manner. So by increasing additional police by what we've recently done with the sheriff's department by 7 million, actually increases crime. So that's been proven nationwide. So instead of that, I would like to go into racism as a mental health crisis. That has been proven to be a fact scientifically, and gun violence is a mental health crisis. These things are disproportionately affect the Black and Brown community. And this is a Black and Brown issue. And our children are dying by violence, and they're also dying by suicide in the droves. So we cannot solve the issue with the Eurocentric approach. We need to increase culturally responsive education to enhance Afro identity, self-love, self-esteem, self-worth, and social-emotional leadership from a framework that will change behavioral and attitudinal traits to increase social, emotional, and economic development. An Eurocentric approach with people who do not identify or understand the economic and cultural realities of those impacted by poverty and inequities and inequalities cannot possibly help solve the issue. It has to be done by those who can speak to the youth and to the issue. Hold on, baby. Gun violence is down from last year due to intentional efforts by Black and Brown leaders working directly with youth and directly with impacted community members. Judges need to be securing program slots for those being released on bail reform and an active solution for skill building, culturally centered courses and mentorships who look like the people who are impacted. We exist and have the capacity. Coming together has always been proven to be effective. The children who are not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth, African proverb. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you so much. We come back, we got Randy, Rudolph, and Hannah on Zoom. We come back in person. Yes, sir. Grab that mic, Dr. Shabaka.
Mayor Shafaka Moasar, Rochester resident, educator for 23 years, business owner, film director. I got a lot to say, but make it quick. I think this problem is systemic. We talked about culture, we talked about healing, mental health. We need business. We need resources. We need resources. I think the government should take responsibility for it. That's the elephant in the room. You want to call it reparations, you want to call it repair. We need resources. Rochester is ranked top 10 is the worst place for a Black person to live. It's ranked 5th for the youth being in poverty. And people who are on the top know that, so we got to dump resources into that. We need resources to help repair the family so that we can repair our community. So, we could ask, the government finds ways to give money to Ukraine and other places around the world. Even during COVID, we got our money coming through homes all across the country. So we could, if we want to, push funds to build resources in communities to help rebuild family. Same thing as an educator. The problem is the family's broken. And no one's seeing that, but we got a $1.1 billion budget this year, and we're seeing that families are not empowered. So we need resources. We need to talk about reparations and repair for our community. That's the bottom line. I think if we start getting some money, we'll figure it out. But there's no money there. How are we going to figure it out? I think the government needs to have responsibility for that because they systematically took the father out the home, so systematically put the father back in the home. And that's a fact. So we need resources. We need repair.
All right, thank you for your comment. Thank you for your comment. All right, we're going to Randy Rudolph on Zoom. You got 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah, good evening. When did they say it takes a nation, a village to raise a child? And one of those stop in the village is the school system. It's a sad shame that many of our students are graduating functioning illiterate. Something is happening in the school system, and that plays a strong play in gun violence. When our kids are not able to read, our kids come in with a lot of hope in pre-K and kindergarten with a lot of hope. And for some reason, by 3rd grade, they're illiterate. And we're not looking at the Rochester City School District. We got people that was on the board for many of these years and everything, and we keep voting the same way. We keep selling our votes cheap to a lot of these mayors, to a lot of these city councilmen, this and that. We have to stop. We have to come together and focus on education. And like my man said, putting the fathers back in the home. Those are the two main things. If our kids are illiterate and everything, they're going to learn in a different way, different this and that, because all this gun violence is learned behavior. Just like racism, learned behavior. So we have to touch the school system. Thank God we got Ms. Griffin, who's going to be a part of the board and everything, because I know she's a fighter for the street. I know Mr. Lightfoot and Demond Meeks are fighters in the streets and everything, but we have to push education and fathers back in home, because the city school district got $1 billion. And that $1 billion went in the pockets of politicians and also high people with doctorate degrees and everything, but our kids cannot read. That's all I have to say.
You said a lot, my brother. You said a lot. I saw your hand again, Kathy, but we're gonna, when you come back, we got Hannah, and then I want to try to get someone online who may not have spoken already. If you can raise your hand, Siobhan, I see Siobhan. I'm gonna come back here, Kathy, if we have time. I see Siobhan. Just give me your hands on Zoom so I can take the list down. We're at the 7:15 mark. We're gonna be wrapping up around, I got you. We're gonna be wrapping up around 7:25, 7:30 is the end of our session. So we'll, if there's any other hands online, I want to capture them now. Right now, I got Hannah and Siobhan when we come back. And then in person, for those of you who may have not spoken, I want to address people who may not have spoken at either our meeting. Would you come on up? Yep, grab your mic right here, sir.
I enjoyed being here with y'all. Unfortunately, I gotta leave early.
Bless you, man. Bless you. Thank you for coming. Thank our young folks for coming, though. Bless you. Got 2 minutes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Your name and then, go ahead.
My name is Tanu Sarkis.
Yes.
I live in the city of Rochester, and I've been coming to quite a few of these meetings recently.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a lot of these ideas that are repeating, and a lot of them are coming from different angles, but they all need to be a message that's sent out somehow collectively. And in doing so, we need to have some sort of a pull method of marketing these to people in the community instead of a push. I'm seeing a lot of these push ideas that say, hey, let's get out there, let's go on the streets, but let's try to create an event where it's going to draw more people in. Let's try to get something where the youth, the college students, everybody in the county, because gun violence doesn't just affect the city, it affects everything in the county, everyone in the county, everyone in the state, everyone in this nation. So we need to be able to create some sort of event where we can get the message out to everybody. Let's create some sort of a tournament. Let's do a tournament for football, for soccer, for basketball, any type of sport. We can do something to get everybody involved so that everybody can be getting these ideas out there, getting all of these resources out there. Let them know that these resources exist. I've heard people talk about all of these resources that there needs to be more of. And I did a little digging after the last meeting we were here, and a lot of these resources exist. The question is, how do we get these resources out to these people, out to the youth, out to more than just the youth? Because we looked at that stat right now that you just pulled up. The average victim age is 26. It's not just the youth that's committing these violent acts, it's people of all ages. So let's get a resource sheet. Let's create something administratively where we can hand it out from a police department, from the fire department, from all other facets of the government. Let's try to get everything situated to where everyone can come together and make these resources more available from an administrative standpoint.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, there is no bad idea. We're going to exhaust ideas. We're going back to Zoom to Hannah.
Hello, everybody. So I'll be really short. I just wanted to talk about a couple just quick examples that worked in Los Angeles, where I'm from, where we focus more on partnerships to leverage the pieces of the puzzle we all had. The idea of building a safer community, I think, is not realistic given that America has never been a safe place for Black people. So what I really do think is we should focus on building vibrant, health, just, and sustainable communities. And that's, many of you have said that. And the how we've done that is that holistic approach to partnering. What's happening with the student or the person we're talking about from sun up to sundown. And we had disruptive partnerships where we would partner with create after school programs, and we ensure we partner to have safe transportation, partnering with Lyft to and from schools. We made sure all the things that were mentioned were decolonized psychology, arts. We took the kids to Google, entrepreneurship, everything, the spaces, the innovative spaces, music studios, you name it. And what we did was we created partnerships. IHOP fed our kids, Chick-fil-A fed our kids lunch. And so we did these different partnerships. We created a reading program for fourth graders because the school to prison pipeline started at fourth grade. And so when you mention illiteracy, so I think we need to lay out our resources and the pieces of the puzzle we all have, create that comprehensive plan and insert in from top to bottom. What does that day look like? What does our kids need? We had sports camps, and we created this, and we made sure from the moment they woke up and went to school, and then we had advocates in the school, and we worked with those teachers and those who would get suspended. We advocated. We had a group of brothers that advocated. So everybody worked together to create one program under one umbrella with one marketing pitch, with one goal each year. And when it was very successful. We actually leveraged everything we need. And in terms of resources, even the controller, who's going to manage the money when they give the money. So we have one lawyer who is known for doing all the money management. We had an accountant system, and it was several partners. So Orange County Fair, Google, schools, the CSU, UCLA, you name it. They gave us those resources because everybody has funds to give out, but we need to design what does that look like, and we have a voice of where those different resources goes. We then use the churches. So churches some of them are going out of business. So if you use the empty churches,
Then you're going to be brief.
I'm sorry.
That's your 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry, but that's what we did in LA, and it was very successful.
Thank you. And we captured that in whatever information, Hannah, that you can send us over that we can utilize and as best practices. We'll be so grateful for that. Thank you so much. In person. Grab that mic here, brother.
All right. I got hoodwinked coming here tonight. I thought I was going to Bible study. We're not going to talk about it though. So Jeremiah 6:16. Thus says the Lord. Stand in the old ways, and ask for the old paths where the way is good, and walk in it. Then you will find the rest for your soul. But they said, we will not walk in it. And that's what we got going on right now. Real simple, cut and clean. We need to restore the family and nuclear family unit, period. And the story, the family needs to be brought back together. But just like with the schools, we're letting these people in these executive level positions in the government tell us how we should run our families, how we should run our lives. And it's seeping into the culture of this single parenting type of a thing, all types of nonsense. And we got to get back to the ways that we're working. We also have to get back to gun safety, right? We've got all of these criminals running around with these guns, but you know who don't have guns? The populace, to defend themselves, because there are laws in place right now that make it more difficult for you to be able to get a firearm and own a firearm and train on a firearm. And now it's cost prohibitive because the people on the state assembly and the state senate passed a law to make it even more cost prohibitive. That's man, listen, don't get me started preaching in here today. But real quick, what we can do on the city level is we can look to repeal the ordinance where we can't have firearms training in the city with a actual shooting range. We can look to do that. We can look for the city to actually streamline the processing of applications by helping with financing for people that are in underserved or working class, because it's mostly the working class that are in peril the most under these attacks. Okay, that's what I'm coming to say today. And my last thing to say is I do agree with the kids. We do need more resources for them to keep themselves busy. But when it comes to the schools, we're letting the wrong people educate our children. And this whole Eurocentric idea concept, those are the same people that are teaching you about this mental health and nonsense. Our kids don't have mental health problems. They don't have the issues that they're saying they have. They have behavioral health issues because they don't have any discipline in their homes. And that's what it is.
All right, thank you. We're going to take maybe 2 more, and then we're going to wrap it up. Siobhan on Zoom.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear
ma'am.
me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm not gonna be long. I really like this discussion, and what I was thinking about while everyone was giving their suggestions is, okay, so just running it back to the Rochester Police Department. I don't know what standard that they're held to, but there has to be some ordinance with them as well, right? Because just the other day, a police officer almost killed someone going 100 down Lake Avenue and pushed two cars, off the road. And, that's recklessness, and killed someone, as far as police brutality. So when you think about the minorities, and we're talking about, Blacks, Browns, Puerto Ricans, whatever you consider as a marginalized population, we as a whole, I mean, and that's like my generation and younger generations don't have as much respect for the police structure and the police department. So yes, you can hire more officers and they can circulate our city, but if the people are not respecting them and still are able to commit a crime while a police officer is down the street, then there's a problem. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that goes as far as the Rochester Police Department, but I do think that there has to be some sort of standard that they're held to in order to protect and serve our community in the right way. I think it's not there yet. And it's clear that it's not there yet because we're still having these issues, and their job is to, kind of be the liaison between, these violent acts and being able to create some sort of, peace, outside of what we can do. That's their job. That's what they get paid to do. And I think it needs, some order in that, but that's my suggestion.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Our last one on Zoom will be Council President Melendez. When we come back to Zoom, we'll look for another speaker here in person. Someone who has not, sir, I think I saw, did you come on up? We got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes if you want to speak. Grab that microphone right here too.
I almost don't need one.
You asked for the microphone. You gotta hold it.
Is this working? Yeah. Thank you. I was here last week.
Yes, sir.
I'm observing, I'm learning, and pretty much everybody's saying the same
What's your
thing.
name?
Jim Deli. We're all saying the same thing. It's not just gun violence, it's violence.
Yeah.
Lack of respect for human life, right?
Yes.
Yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna stay here until we fix it.
There you go.
You might get tired of me. I've been a city resident my whole life. I still am. I love the city. I do. All right. And I love every person in it, except these bad boys that don't have any respect for what's going on around them, and probably their parents and grandparents and everybody else. They're lost.
Yeah.
Almost. We don't give up on them. That's what I want to do. I want to stay here and work on it until we get it right. We can blame a lot of people, but we're going forward, right? We're going to get these kids somewhere in a building and show them that they're loved and people care about them, and that get rid of the guns and get rid of the craziness. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
2 minutes?
Yeah, well, you have 45 seconds, but you can set that down. We're going to our last speaker on Zoom will be Council President Miguel Melendez. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say to everyone, this has been a tremendous 2 sessions, and I want to pause and also just give Councilmember Lightfoot a round of applause. If we can all just say thank you to Councilmember Lightfoot for his leadership in this space. And what I believe here is that the community coming together, we know that we don't have all of the answers, but when we come together like this, we are starting to produce a pretty exhaustive list of opportunities to change this. And I just want to reiterate something Councilmember Lightfoot said earlier, which is, you know, again, I'm only one of 9 as well, but we are all committed to figuring out how do we do a better job with public safety on the whole. And specifically, Councilmember Lightfoot has led in this gun violence space for a long time. And I just can't commend him enough for his commitment to this. And I'm looking forward to seeing the report. I'm looking forward to the meeting on September 18th, where we can really hash this out a little bit further. And at the end of the day, we're in this together. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Melendez. And I just want to, as we wrap up, and I will talk about next steps here, I want to thank all of you who have attended, and some of you have attended not only just the 2 sections of the planning session, but some of you have even, I see faces here who even been coming into these chambers where there's only 2 or 3 of us. And I said this, and my brother said it as well. And I said it the other meeting, and I'm gonna say it again, because it really is true. We just had a council meeting last week, Speak to Council. There were more people in here to advocate for cats and dogs and animals.
Yes.
Than there are combined in both meetings we've had talking about gun violence and violence when we have human beings that are being gunned down in our streets. And that is something that keeps me up at night. You know, that bothers me. And I'm not saying that people don't care, because I don't believe that. I believe each and every one of you care, and all of you will come and who are part of this all care. But what I do believe is that this has become normalized for our community. And people have gotten desensitized to the trauma impacted in our communities. And I refuse to give place to normalizing anybody dying in our community, especially from violence. That is not normal. It's not normal. It shouldn't be accepted. It shouldn't be something that we allow, and we need to do all that we can to save that next person. And to me, that is what I am dedicated to do, is to say, we don't know how many lives we've saved. We can't qualify or quantify that, how many lives we've saved. This paper that many of you have can tell you how many have been shot and how many have died. But we don't know how many we've saved. I like to believe that we've saved more than we've lost. And I like to look at the glass half full for a moment, that we're saving more lives than we're losing. And I'm hopeful that we can decrease that graph of that line, how it's going up. You start to see it starting to go down again. And our prayer is that that line goes all the way to 0.
Yes.
Until we see 0, we will not stop this fight of educating, advocating, and eradicating against gun violence within our community. Next steps will be, you all, hopefully, if I have not received your email, you've signed in. If you got an email from us, we have our correspondence. We will be sending out another email to the general group by the end of this week. You're going to get a registration link that's going to give you an opportunity to register for an in-person session. The next session will be in person only. Yep, we're shutting all the virtual stuff down. We're going to make you get out in your room, your house, your bed, wherever you are, and be serious about this work and come out in person. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get this draft plan finalized for submission to this community as a collective, with very strict timelines. See, I'm doing this public for a reason. Very few do you see doing hybrid meetings like this council. You don't see that, right? I'm doing this for a reason, because this holds me accountable.
Yes.
Right? It holds me accountable.
Yeah.
Everything I say is recorded.
Yes.
Right? Everything I say is on record. So I'm I don't have a rabbit under my jacket. You know, trick, you know, it's real. And we serious about this work.
Yes.
And so I'm saying, if you're gonna hold me accountable, then I'm gonna hold you accountable too.
All right.
Because you said you're gonna do all this stuff. You said we. So that means us.
Okay.
Because I can't do it all. So we're gonna do it together. And I promise you that. And there will be a plan that we're going to draft. It's gonna be a living document. And we're gonna submit it, and we're gonna hold all of those other agencies accountable as well too. I'm not gonna tell you, I'm leaving it for the end of how we're gonna do that. But we have a how. We have a how of how we're gonna call individuals to task publicly. Put them on the carpet publicly. And let them speak to the same individuals who elected them. They need to be accountable to them.
Yes.
Right? And so when they don't do, if they don't take stuff from out of this plan that their constituents have brought before, then y'all gotta hold them accountable. We gotta hold them accountable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like y'all hold me accountable.
Yes.
You gotta hold others accountable too, from all levels, including ourselves.
Yes.
First. Because this is a, like they said, and I agree with, is a family, a breakdown of the family.
Yes.
It starts in the home, the loss of faith, the loss of belief, of what we believe and how we were raised. All of that has deteriorated, and we have to restore that. And so that's what we're looking to do. You'll receive an email by the end of this week. Please, sir, please, ma'am, if you want to be a part of that meeting, there's limited space. I think I got 150 is the cutoff. So, you know, we're giving you to, what was the date we had? We're giving you to, I believe it was September 14th to register. After that, registration will be cut off. We do plan to serve, so it will be an evening meeting from 6 to 8, so we will be serving some food at that particular meeting. So that will be the next step. After that session, then we'll have a finalized document. We'll present that document in October. We're also going to be asking for volunteers for at that meeting, we'll also give you the structure of the coalition. The coalition is rebuilding. The lady called me today, asked me a very pointed and a good question. She's like, look, what is this coalition all about, and how do I, that she wanted to go directly straight into the work. And we have partners who are on the ground doing work. But I just want you to be patient with us and understand that 3 years in the pandemic, we got kind of behind. And we're getting kicked back up, and this is a part of doing that. This is the work. This will become the work of the coalition. After this, we have 5 committees: Education, Advocacy Committee, Eradication Committee, Media Committee, and Youth Committee. Those, and I'm thinking about adding a resource committee. I've heard that over and over again. The resource committee, right? And we're gonna ask for volunteers. And then every month as we meet, we're gonna start fleshing out how we make this plan life.
Yes.
And live, right, through these committees. Does that make sense to everyone? And then we'll do it collectively as a body, and the coalition will kind of drive it, working alongside with our partners, the mayor, the county executive, et cetera, Vic, and everyone else who's doing the work in their respective places. But one thing I heard Hannah say that worked in LA is they had one particular area or group, and we heard the gentleman say we need an event that brings everybody together. We're hoping that the coalition could be that, could be that glue that ties everybody together. Even if they don't physically always come together, we're at least connected to them and communicate so that we can communicate everything to everyone. All right. And so that's what the coalition, we're hopeful that we're able to play that role and be able to do that. And by us being into city government, we think that we have the capacity to be able to do that. So thank you again for coming out. We'll be in touch this week. We hope to see some of you, if not all of you, in person on the 18th of September at church. And may God bless you, may God keep you, is our prayer. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. And if you have ideas that come in between now and then, you feel free to email it to me at willie.lightfoot@cityofrochester.gov, and feel free to send those in, and we'll capture all of that information. Share the YouTube video to your family, your friends. and let people know, once again, that, we're working to do our part as much as we can to end this violence in our community. Thanks again. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Zoom. God bless all of you as well, too.
We're not signing up.